Welcome to today's explainer. Look, if you're a teacher trying to wrap your head around the new ILAW Lesson Plan format, just take a deep breath, drop your shoulders, and maybe grab a cup of coffee. You are exactly where you need to be. Today, we're taking a super calm, practical approach to mastering this new system. We're going to walk through the most common pitfalls we see teachers falling into, why they happen, and most importantly, how to fix them with simple, actual classroom-ready solutions. Think of this as your personal coaching session.
First things first, you are absolutely not alone in this. So many educators are feeling that late night stress right now, staring at a blank screen, trying to figure out how to make their usual teaching style fit into all these new boxes. It's completely normal to feel a bit overwhelmed when adjusting to a brand new format. The anxiety of messing up your paperwork can feel super heavy. But today, we're going to lift that weight. We're focusing on realistic classroom guidance and actionable steps you can actually use in your classroom tomorrow.
Here's a quick look at our friendly roadmap for today. We'll start with adjusting to the ILAW plan, then tackle three major traps: the overloaded lesson, the misaligned lesson, and the complexity trap. And finally, we'll wrap up with a focus on progress over perfection.
All right, let's jump right into Section 1, Adjusting to the ILAW Plan, the Reality Check.
So, there's a very real struggle happening out there right now. Teachers are dealing with complicated documentation, objectives that somehow get completely misaligned along the way, and plans that are just incredibly difficult to actually implement in a real, noisy, dynamic classroom. You see, the paper plan might look totally flawless on your desk, but if it doesn't survive contact with actual students, well, it's just not serving you. Let's look at the specific mistakes that are causing this massive disconnect.
Which brings us to Section 2, the overloaded lesson, competencies and pacing.
Now, when teachers cram multiple learning competencies into a single lesson, it almost always comes from a really good place. I get it. You want to maximize your classroom time. You've got a mountain of material to cover before the end of the quarter, and you just want to give your students as much value as possible. But here's the reality. While the intention is great, packing 3 or 4 competencies into one single session, it usually backfires big time. Let's think about what this paperwork mistake actually looks like inside the 4 walls of your classroom. When you overload those competencies, the activities themselves become completely overloaded. Your students end up just jumping frantically from one concept to the next with zero time to process any of it. As a result, your discussions become totally rushed because, let's be honest, you're watching the clock like a hawk. And finally, the assessment becomes super unclear. Think about it. If you just taught 4 different things, how do you accurately measure which one the students actually understood? It just creates a chaotic environment for everyone involved.
So here is the absolute most crucial point. Less is more. The simple, practical correction here is to just focus on one clear, measurable target, or at least tightly connected competencies for a single lesson. Instead of taking the scattered shotgun approach, we really want to laser focus. When you have one clear target, you finally give yourself the breathing room to actually teach it well. And more importantly, you give your students the time they desperately need to absorb it.
And, this focus directly impacts your pacing. Combining 3 to 4 science competencies in one day it's unrealistic. Remember that in a real classroom, real life happens. Interruptions happen. Fire drills happen. The projector suddenly decides it's going to stop working right in the middle of your intro. Manageable pacing means focusing only on that specific target skill. When you do this, you completely prevent that terrible sinking feeling of running out of time and having to skip the most important parts of the lesson, like student reflection and your final assessment.
Moving right along to Section 3, the misaligned lesson, activities and assessments.
Okay, I want you to think of this right here as your quick alignment check. A strong lesson plan flows absolutely perfectly from step 1 right through to step 3. Your objective dictates your activity, and your activity directly prepares the students for the assessment. If any of these links are broken, the whole lesson just kind of falls apart. A really common trap is that teachers will choose an activity just because it's super highly engaging, but they forget to check if it actually connects back to step 1. Let me give you an example. Let's say your objective is for students to understand the water cycle. Giving them a worksheet to color is certainly fun, and look, let's be real, we all love 10 minutes of a quiet classroom. But coloring doesn't really provide strong learning evidence that they understand evaporation or condensation, right? Strong alignment means the students actually explain or demonstrate the water cycle themselves. The activity needs to match the objective perfectly. Which leads us straight to this vital self-reflection question, something you should definitely ask yourself as you write your plan. Can my students actually apply the lesson? This right here is the pivot point, because if your activity doesn't allow them to actually apply the knowledge in a real way, your assessment is definitely going to suffer.
See, when we ignore application, we end up with really weak assessment problems. An assessment that only checks memorization, like, say, a basic multiple-choice quiz on vocabulary, that doesn't measure true mastery. The real danger here is that it completely hides student learning gaps. A student might just have a great short-term memory, pass the quiz, but they haven't truly grasped the concept at all. When we rely on these weak assessments, we basically lose our ability to see who's actually falling behind.
So instead of that, try integrating these effective, real-life alternatives. Things like short performance tasks, thoughtful reflection questions, in-class demonstrations, or simple application activities. And listen, these don't have to be massive, stressful, week-long projects. A simple 2-minute demonstration by a student, right at their desk, is an incredible assessment tool. It connects directly to your objective, it's super interactive, and it shows you instantly if that student truly gets the material.
Let's shift gears to Section 4, the complexity trap, lesson structure.
Look, we all want to be thorough, but when lesson plans become way too detailed, a very specific problem pops up in the classroom. The teacher becomes totally dependent on the script. Have you ever found yourself using your notebook almost like a shield, just reading paragraph after paragraph rather than actually looking at your students? When that happens, natural classroom interaction just plummets. If a student asks a brilliant, totally unexpected question, you might end up ignoring it just because it's not in your highly detailed script. You basically lose all your flexibility.
So the absolute rule of thumb here is simple. Teaching is always greater than paperwork. The ILAW lesson guide has got to remain practical, clear, and actually usable during real live instruction. Your lesson plan should be like a trusty compass pointing you in the right general direction, right? Not a rigid GPS that forces you to take every single exact turn regardless of what the actual road conditions are. You've got to give yourself the freedom to actually teach.
And that brings us to our final part today, Section 5, Progress over Perfection, Before versus After. When we put these two approaches side by side, the difference is literally night and day. The weak version is just crowded with notebook scribbles, multiple competencies, exhausting activities, and an assessment that just kind of leaves you guessing. Honestly, it looks exhausting just reading it. But the improved version? It's clean, one clear objective, an activity that aligns flawlessly, a focused assessment, and most importantly, realistic pacing that accounts for real human beings in a classroom. The improved version doesn't just look cleaner on paper, it flows so much better when you're actually standing up there in front of your students.
If you take absolutely nothing else away from this explainer today, please remember this. The goal of the new ILAW lesson plan is not to create a complicated document. That's not it. The true purpose of this entire system is to improve classroom learning, to ensure your lessons are tightly aligned, and ultimately to elevate your students' understanding. The document itself, it's just a tool to help you get there.
To quickly summarize our core philosophy for a successful, stress-free lesson plan, it comes down to 3 things. It needs to be practical, meaning you can actually pick it up and use it without getting a headache. It needs to be flexible, allowing you to easily pivot when one of those magical teachable moments pops up. And it must be learners-centered, focusing way more on what the students are doing and understanding rather than just what you, the teacher, are saying.
So the next time you sit down to write your lesson plan, keep this warm thought in mind. Progress over perfection. Seriously, you do not have to master the new ILA format overnight. Nobody expects you to. If you can just align your objective to your activity a little bit better tomorrow, or maybe cut out just one extra competency to give your students a bit more breathing room, you're making progress. You're doing a genuinely great job, and your students are incredibly lucky to have you.
If you found this explainer helpful and you want more step-by-step guides on the new ICLU ALA lesson plan system, including some really practical classroom-ready templates and teacher strategies, make sure to subscribe and join us for our next one. But before you close your laptop tonight, ask yourself one question. What is just one unnecessary complication you can cross out of your lesson plan for tomorrow? Keep teaching, keep inspiring, and I'll see you in the next explainer.